Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're digging into a story that's definitely been making waves. We're looking at a really dramatic turn for a brand, Tesla, that was once, well, the gold standard, wasn't it? Specifically, there's this electric article pointing out something pretty astonishing. Used Teslas are now, and I quote, literally cheaper than the average used car, which for a company that basically defined aspiration in cars, it just seems unthinkable. How did they even get here?
Yeah, that data point. It's not just some random statistic. It really signals a profound shift, I think. So our mission today in this deep dive is to really get into the why.
Yeah.
Why this big market correction. We'll be using the sources you've provided to explore, the reasons behind this drastic change
Yeah.
and what it means for Tesla itself, but also maybe the wider car market, which is changing so fast.
It really is astonishing seeing a brand fall from, well, such heights. I mean, think about Tesla's journey, from being the symbol of cutting edge tech to, well, this. It really makes you ask, what specifically started to chip away at that image, that once sort of unshakable perception?
Well, the sources we looked at, they paint a pretty stark picture. Basically, the Tesla brand has taken a massive reputational hit. That's the phrase used. And what's really striking is the assessment that there's no clear recovery in sight. Now, this downturn, it seems primarily tied very directly to its CEO, Elon Musk. The result, a drastic drop in brand trust and image.
Wow, a drastic drop.
Yeah, it's a huge reversal. I mean, think about it. Back in 2021, Tesla was celebrated, right? It was seen as one of the most appreciated and innovative brands, getting really high scores in surveys. But fast forward to now, and it's plummeted. It's very low in American brand rankings, almost reaching last place among the most recognized brands.
Last place? That's quite a fall.
It is. And this damage, our research suggests, it's been seriously amplified by Musk's own polarizing political positions and public behaviors.
Yeah.
It's not just general controversy either. The sources specifically mention his controversial political activity, things like support for polarizing figures, and also questionable public messages. These actions, the sources say, directly clashed.
Clashed with their base.
Exactly. Clashed with those progressive and sort of environmentally conscious values that many of Tesla's early adopters held. It created this, well, this cognitive dissonance, you could call it. It made it harder for many to stay loyal.
Okay, that's a really crucial point, that clash with the foundational customer base. So have the sources actually drawn a clear line between, say, his public persona and actual sales figures, like a measurable decline?
They have, yes. The data shows a noticeable decline in sales, and specifically in Europe and the USA. So this isn't just, people feeling differently. It's hitting the bottom line. It really demonstrates how quickly a leader's public actions can alienate, well, a core group of your customers.
Right. So it's easy to point to the Musk effect, as you called it, as the main driver, and the sources clearly highlight that. But is that the whole picture, or are there other things going on? What other maybe hidden pressures or less obvious factors did the research uncover that are adding to this decline?
That's a really good question. Because look, while the CEO's influence is definitely substantial, it's not the only thing. The sources identify several other elements that have sort of compounded the problems. They point to ongoing service problems, for instance, which, over time, that can really erode customer confidence.
Service issues. Okay. What else?
Then there are mentions of production scale issues, which suggests Tesla had challenges not just beating demand, maybe, but also keeping quality consistent as they ramped up. Delays, maybe inconsistent experiences for buyers. And finally, there's this perceived scarcity of effective innovation of important new models after 2020.
Okay, let's pause on that one. Scarcity of effective innovation. I mean, for a brand that built its entire reputation on being revolutionary, what does that look like according to the sources? Why is that so damaging now?
Well, it's crucial, right? Because innovation was Tesla's core promise. It's what set them apart. The sources suggest that as competitors started launching really compelling new EVs, cars with impressive features, good designs, Tesla seemed perhaps a bit slower with major new models after 2020, and that perception chipped away at their futuristic appeal.
So they lost that cutting edge?
Kind of. They weren't seen as quite as far ahead anymore, and that made them more vulnerable, especially in a market that's evolving so rapidly now. Other brands were definitely catching up and catching up fast.
Okay, so we've got this damaged brand image, we've got operational issues like service and production, and maybe a perception of slower innovation. It's really remarkable how quickly public perception can shift, isn't it? Which brings me to the next question. How does all this affect what used to be Tesla's, well, legendary customer loyalty? That seemed like their fortress.
Yeah, and the sources are very direct on this, that once extremely high customer loyalty It's now described as drastically reduced.
Mm.
We're seeing a pretty significant trend, according to the research, where many previous Tesla owners are now actively looking at other EV brands for the future.
Wow. So not just maybe unhappy, but actively looking elsewhere.
Exactly. It's a profound shift. It really suggests that even if you have a powerful initial connection to a brand, that connection can be broken if trust and maybe your expectations for the future are fundamentally undermined.
So we've covered the erosion of brand trust, the hit to customer loyalty, but for a huge company like Tesla, how do these kind of intangible shifts actually hit the books? What are the sources telling us about the actual financial results, the bottom line?
Right. Well, when you connect all those dots, the reputation, the loyalty issues, the operational stuff, it translates pretty directly into declining economic results.
Hmm.
That's the term used. Our analysis of the source material confirms that both profit and revenue are falling.
Falling profit and revenue. Okay.
Yes. And this paints a picture, really, of an uncertain future, a future without clear signs of immediate recovery. All right, so that erosion of trust and loyalty, combined with those other challenges we talked about, it's having very real, very negative consequences for the company's financial stability.
What a journey we've traced today. I mean, from this undisputed market leader to a brand facing some really deep fundamental challenges. As we wrap up this deep dive, it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Just consider how incredibly rapidly a brand's fortunes can shift, even for the giants, the industry leaders, especially when public perception, leadership decisions, and maybe internal factors all kind of align in, well, a challenging way.
Absolutely. And this case study, it really isn't just about Tesla or cars, is it? It really highlights that complex dance between leadership, public image, and market dynamics, especially in today's fast-moving industries. It just underscores how critical it is for companies. They need to navigate not just product innovation, but also that whole narrative, the story that defines their brand in the public mind. It leaves us all pondering, I think, what actually makes a brand truly resilient when facing these kinds of multifaceted pressures.